I'm Jen from That Mama Book Nook, and welcome back to my channel. July was a very busy month. We had 2 family vacations. My kids were at camp, so I was doing a lot of coordinating. It was just a day camp. They had a great time, and yeah, it was just super busy. I also did film in July, and I deleted it by accident. So I did not have the energy or the time to refilm anything, so we're just moving forward in August with my August TBR video. And I am getting that out in the beginning of the month, so we're starting off August strong. I am determined to get some videos out this month. And my August TBR is quite the list. I am participating in my usual challenges that I have been participating in all year long, but I am also participating in a few readathons this month. I am doing a couple over on Instagram, and then I'm also doing a few on YouTube. I am going to be participating in Shark Readathon, hosted by Vanessa from Read with Dr. B, Nicole from Dusty Book Sniffers, and Coda from Coda Means Friends, who are all on YouTube, and I will of course link everything down below. Also, Ashley from Ashley Hearts Reading, who I adore, is hosting a Pink Pony Club book club bingo over on her channel and on her Discord, and it looks super fun, so I'm going to try to do that as well. For all of these, I am not necessarily picking specific books to fulfill prompts, but I just have so many books that I'm trying to get through that I'm hoping that there will be many prompts that will just be easily fulfilled by the books that I'm already reading. I am also very behind on my ARCS or advanced reader copies, and I am excited to have a readathon to help push me through and catch up on some of these. But here's what's on my August TBR. I will go through each book. I will of course always explain why I am reading this book, if it fulfills any of my annual challenge prompts, how I am getting the book, and what the book is about. So first up, I'm hoping to actually join a new in-person book club at a local bookstore. It is a romance-themed book club, and contemporary romances are just one of my absolute favorite genres, so I felt like I couldn't say no, even though I probably should because I'm in way too many. But the first book was also Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston, and I've just been dying to read that. I think I'm going to have to buy this book because it's a relatively new release and it's just huge. The weights are ridiculous, but I think it's one that I'd love to have on my shelves anyway. Joni Lark is living the dream. She is one of the most coveted songwriters in LA, and she can't seem to write. When she returns to her hometown of Vienna Shores, North Carolina, she hopes that the sand, the surf, and the concerts at the Revelry, her family's music hall that they own, will spark her inspiration. But when she gets there, nothing is how she left it. Her best friend is avoiding her, her mother's memories are fading, and the Revelry is closing. How can she think about writing her next song when everything around her is changing until she hears it? A melody in her head, lyricless, half-formed, and an alluring and addictive voice to go with it, belonging apparently to a wry musician with hang-ups of his own. Surely he's a figment of her overworked imagination. But then the very real man attached to the voice shows up in Vienna Shores. He's aggravating and gruff on the outside, nothing like the sweet, funny voice in Joni's head. And he has a plan. They'll finish the song haunting them both, break their connection, and hope they don't break their hearts in the process. I've been wanting to read an Ashley Poston for so long. I really hope I like this one. Then I am reading Night Road by Kristen Hanna with my usual in-person book club that's hosted at a different local bookstore. I already had this one on my shelf, so that is always a win. For 18 years, Jude Faraday has put her children's needs above her own, and it shows. Her twins, Mia and Zach, are bright and happy teenagers. When Lexi Bale moves into their small, close-knit community, no one is more welcoming than Jude. Lexi, a former foster child with a dark past, quickly becomes best friends with Mia, Amelia. And then Zach falls in love with Lexi, and the three basically become inseparable. Jude does everything to keep the kids out of harm's way, but senior year of high school tests them all. It's a dangerous, explosive season of drinking, driving, parties, and kids who want to let loose. And then on a hot summer's night, one bad decision is made. In the blink of an eye, the Faraday family will be torn apart, and Lexi will lose everything. In the years that follow, each of them must face the consequences of their decisions from that one night and find a way to forget or the courage to forgive. I love Kristen Hanna. She is an auto-buy author for me. This seems like a very different genre than what I have usually read from her, but I am still looking forward to reading it, interested to see what I think. Then with the Reading Through Book Club on Instagram, the August pick was These Summer Storms by Sarah McLean. I had already picked this as my book of the month choice from last month, I think, so I already had this one too. Alice Storm hasn't been welcome on her family's magnificent private island off the Rhode Island coast in about 5 years. Not since she was cast out and built her life apart from the Storm name, influence, and untold billions. But the shocking death of her larger-than-life father changes everything. Alice plans to keep her head down, pay her respects, and leave the funeral the minute that it's over. Unfortunately, her father had other plans. The eccentric, manipulative patriarch has left his family a final challenge, an inheritance game to upend their world. The rules are clear: spend 1 week on the island, complete their assigned tasks, and receive the inheritance. But a whole week on Storm Island is no easy task for Alice. Every corner of the sprawling old house is bursting with chaos. Her older sister's secret love affair, her brother's unyielding arrogance, her younger sister's constant analysis of the vibes, her mother's cold judgment, and all under the stern, watchful eye of Jack Dean, her father's intriguing and too handsome second in command. It will be a miracle if Alice escapes unscathed. Newport, Rhode Island is my happy place, so the fact that this is set on the Rhode Island coast, even if it's not Newport specific, I just think, like the younger sister, the vibes will be analyzed for the better in my case. So, and I've heard really good things about this, so I am definitely looking forward to reading it. In August, the Swoony readers are reading Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. I am in line to grab this one on Libby. After a one-night stand with her clingy ex, Aaliyah James has an epiphany. This ain't it. She knows what she wants, and she's ready to move past casual hookups, flings, and situationships. But for her family, the clock is ticking. After all, she's almost 30, and when they imply that her personality and her body might be too big to land a man, she lets them know they've gone too far, and that her non-existent man loves her curves. Thank you very much. Now she has 7 weeks to find the perfect boyfriend to rub in their faces at the big fancy birthday celebration she's been planning. After her first blind date goes wrong, charming local bartender Ahmad Williamson consoles her with a drink and some playful banter. Aaliyah takes him up on his suggestion to use a dating app, but the more she sees of his warm, funny, and easygoing nature, the less she wants to check her DMs. This one sounds so fun. Thrills and Chills Book Club this month is reading Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This is her new release. I probably will have to buy this one because the library and Libby holds are almost a year long. In 7 days, Jet Mason will be dead. Jet is the daughter of one of the wealthiest families in Woodstock, Vermont. 27 years old, and back home, she is still waiting for her life to begin. I'll do it later, she always says. She has time until Halloween night when she is violently attacked by an unseen intruder, suffering a catastrophic head injury. Doctors are certain that within a week, the injury will trigger a fatal aneurysm. To her parents' dismay, Jet rejects an extremely risky operation in order to guarantee herself a few more days. Jet never thought of herself as having enemies, but now in the 1 week that she has left, she looks at everyone in a new light. Her family, her former best friend turned sister-in-law, in-law, her ex-boyfriend. As her condition deteriorates, she reconnects with her childhood friend Billy, the only one willing to help her. With Billy at her side, she is finally determined to finish something. Jet is going to solve her own murder. I can see why the waits are long though. This one definitely sounds intriguing. Then I will be reading Julie Chan is Dead by Leanne Zhang with the Literally Dead book club. I just picked this one up for a steal at a local book sale, so this was perfect timing. Julie Chan has nothing. Her twin sister has everything except a pulse. Julie Chan, a supermarket cashier who is barely scraping by, finds herself thrust into the glamorous yet perilous world of her late twin sister, Chloe Van Heusen, a popular influencer. Separated at a young age, the identical twins are polar opposites and rarely spoke except for one viral video that Chloe initiated. Finding my long lost twin and buying her a house, #emotional. When Julie discovers Chloe's body, she doesn't call the police. Instead, she slips into her sister's meticulously crafted life. Luxury fashion, high-end skincare, and a devoted online following who never really noticed that they weren't the same. At first, the transformation is seamless. Julie relishes the perks of influencer fame, but quickly learns that behind Chloe's flawless feed lays dark secrets, far darker than she imagined. Her sister's final days were shadowed by paranoia, manipulation, and something far more sinister. Now trapped on a private island retreat with Chloe's inner circle, an elite clique of influencers obsessed with status and secrecy. Julie is forced to keep up with the act while being haunted by her sister's untimely death. As events spiral out of control, Julie uncovers the sinister forces that may have led to her sister's demise and realizes she might be the next target. Then my last book club read this month is shockingly actually another Kristen Hanna, this one being Magic Hour, which I am reading with the Always Fully Booked book club. I already had this one on my shelf and we're finally getting into some challenge prompts. This will fulfill a 52 book club prompt for a book with an epigraph. This has an epigraph from The Velveteen Rabbit, the children's story, if you're not familiar with it, so very cute. In the rugged Pacific Northwest lies the Olympic National Forest, nearly 1,000,000 acres of impenetrable darkness and impossible beauty. From deep within this old-growth forest, a 6-year-old girl appears. Speechless and alone, she offers no clue as to her identity, no hint of her past. Having retreated to her Western Washington hometown after a scandal left her career in ruins, child psychiatrist Dr. Julia Cates is determined to free the little girl she calls Alice from a prison of unimaginable fear and isolation. To reach her, Julia must uncover the truth about Alice's past, although doing so requires help from Julia's estranged sister, a local police officer. The shocking facts of Alice's life test the limits of Julia's faith and strength, even as she struggles to make a home for Alice and for herself. This again seems like a different genre from my usual Kristen Hanna's, but I would love to read her entire backlog at some point, so excited to get through 2 of them this month, hopefully. Then I am participating in a 2-year-long read-along of the entire Zodiac Academy with their spin-off series and everything, hosted by Vanessa from Read with Dr. B over on Discord. So in August, we are reading The Awakening by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. This is on Kindle Unlimited and will fulfill a Pop Sugar prompt of a non-traditional education. I haven't read it yet, so I think this book is from the perspective of twins Darcy and Tori, but I'm not sure who is speaking in the synopsis because it's first person, so I'm just gonna read it. I'm a Gemini, impulsive, curious, headstrong, a twin, heir to a throne I know nothing about, and it turns out I'm Fae. But of course there's a catch. All I have to do to claim my birthright is to prove that I'm the most powerful supernatural in all of Solaria. And sure, technically that's true, as I'm the daughter of the Savage King, but the bit that they didn't put in the brochure was that every single fae in this kingdom would claim my throne if they could. The school they sent me to is both dangerous and a hell of a party. Vampires bite weaker students in the corridors, the werewolf pack has orgies in the Wailing Wood at every full moon, and don't even get me started on the dark and twisted ways the sirens use their powers on people's emotions, or how my sinfully tempting cardinal magic teacher hosts detentions with people needing therapy after. Classes are totally interesting if you manage to live through them, and that Gemini star sign I mentioned, it now determines my elemental magic and affects my destiny. So learning astrology is essential if I'm going to beat down my classmates, which is actively encouraged, by the way. My biggest problem is the drool-worthy dragon shifter who has his eyes on my throne. He and his 3 psycho friends are determined to make my time here hell. All I've got to do is survive, but fate might have other ideas. I have questioned for a long time if these books will be for me, but I figured what better than a read-along with many new friends to determine if that's true. Then we come to my advanced reader copies, and I have a ton of them that I'm trying to read this month that are coming out in September. This summer, I definitely went a little bit wild with my advanced reader copies, but they are all genuinely books that I am interested in reading. So I'm just doing the best I can to get through them as quickly as I can while still enjoying and giving them the time and care that they deserve. First up is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, which I have on my Kindle. This will fulfill a diverse reading prompt of polytheistic religion. Born in the firelit domain of the Underrealm, Matilda is the youngest goddess of her clan, blessed with humble messenger magic. But born in a land where gods often kill each other to steal powers and alliances break as quickly as they are forged, Matilda must come of age sooner than most. She may be known to carry words and letters throughout the realms, but she holds a secret that she must keep even from her dearest of allies to ensure her survival. And to complicate matters, there is a mortal boy who dreams of her, despite the fact that they've never met in the waking world. 10 years ago, Vincent of Beckett wrote to Matilda on the darkest night of his life, begging the goddess he befriended in his dreams to help him. When his request went unanswered, Vincent moved on, becoming the hardened, irreverent lord of the river who has long forgotten Matilda. That is, until she comes tumbling into his bedroom with a letter for him. As fate would have it, Matilda and Vincent were destined to find each other beyond dreams. There may be a chance for Matilda to rewrite the blood-soaked ways of the gods, but at immense sacrifice. She will have to face something she fears more than losing her magic, to be vulnerable and to allow herself to finally be loved. I haven't read Divine Rivals yet, though I have it, so I'm hoping that's not a big deal. I've heard it's likely okay. It's just the same world, not like a sequel. But I really enjoyed A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross, so I couldn't help but pick this one. Then I have an advanced reader copy of The Sleepless by Jen Williams, also on my Kindle. This will fulfill a Books and Bulldogs monthly prompt of a YA book and a Mass Center for the Book monthly prompt of a book with a protagonist who is a teenager. Welcome to a world where gods and monsters roam the earth. Elver is the guardian of the wild and dangerous monster forest. Saved from the brink of death by a god, her skin will poison anyone she touches. Artair is on a mission, one that will bring him face to face with Elver at her most ruthless. But her defenses are useless when she discovers that he's the only human impervious to her deadly gift. For Artair isn't human. He is one of the sleepless, cursed to share his body with an evil spirit. Lucian inhabits their body while Altair sleeps, and he is hell-bent on manipulating Elver for his dark purposes. But Elver is harboring secrets too, and she has her own reasons for feigning alliance with these two souls. Caught in the crossfires of gods, monsters, and a dangerous magic they can barely understand, it is only a matter of time before the paths the three of them choose to take will set alight the very foundations of their world. YA can be hit or miss for me, since since I'm not the intended audience, but I am definitely still interested. The next advanced reader copy is 7 Reasons to Murder Your Dinner Guests by KJ Whittle. This is also on my Kindle. 7 strangers meet for an anonymously hosted dinner party. As the evening winds down, 7 cards appear, one in front of each of the guests. On the card is a number, the age in which each of the guests will die. Thinking it's an elaborate prank, the guests disperse into the night, hoping to forget the morbid evening forever. 2 weeks later, one of them is dead at exactly the age the card predicted. It must be a coincidence. But as more guests die, each one at the same age as their card, it soon becomes clear that something much more sinister is afoot. Now it's up to the quickly dwindling group to figure out who or what was behind that fateful dinner party before their numbers catch up with them. This is kind of giving me like Agatha Christie vibes, but also Leanne Moriarty's newer release where with the plane where the person was predicting what age everyone was going to die at. So I think this one will be really interesting. Then I have an advanced reader copy of Hopelessly Devoted by Audrey Goldberg Ruoff, also on my Kindle. Azrael Ashmedai Hart must be cursed. He's a witch twice named for the devil. He's making his way back to his family manor in Hallowcross after a failed screenwriting career. He's adopted a cat he's allergic to, and if all that's not enough, he's also forced to come face to face with his former childhood best friend and crush. Victoria Starnberger, the bubbly girl next door Az lost touch with after an awkward incident in college, has just been disowned by her parents for quitting business school and buying Azrael's late parents' hopelessly devoted tea shop against their wishes. Being cut off financially is one thing, but now Vicky also owes a lesser devil for the souls her parents promised him in exchange for her gift to summon the dead by touching something they treasured in life, destroying the object in the process. When spirits all over town, including Az's parents, keep warning her about a sinister threat, Vicky and Az are forced to combine their powers to save Hallowcross. But to do so, they must prevent her magic from immolating him after Vicky's devil places a curse on them to keep them from touching until she repays her debt. As they race against the clock to find clever ways around their curse, they find it increasingly difficult to avoid the fact that they've been hopelessly devoted to each other for a long time. Then I'm so excited to read an advanced reader copy of Tessa Bailey's new book, Picture Perfect. This one is on my Kindle and will fulfill a 52 book club prompt of an audiobook with multiple narrators. I am not listening to the audiobook, but I did look it up, and this audiobook has a dual narration, so 2 narrators. Boston Bearcats rookie Robbie Kerrigan is living the dream. Made it to the NHL. His best friend and teammate is his roommate, and the women of Boston love them both. Life is sweet. That is until he meets Skylar Page, Division I softball pitcher, girl least likely to take anyone's ball, and the one member of the opposite sex immune to his charms. Robbie might be dazzled by the badass pitcher, but Skylar pegs him as a filthy player and wants nothing to do with him. When he discovers she's carrying a serious torch for her brother's best friend, Robbie knows he should just go back to clubbing and whipped cream bikini parties, but he can't seem to leave Skylar to flounder on her romantic quest to land another man. Nor can he miss out on the opportunity to spend time with her and hopefully redeem himself. Before he knows it, he has agreed to be Skylar's fake boyfriend / love coach at an upcoming family wilderness competition where her crush will be in attendance. What could go wrong? Through a series of contests that require them to trust each other, Robbie and Skylar grow closer to each other until their fake relationship starts to feel like the realest thing they've ever known. And the sizzling lessons in sensuality burn out of control. But it's all just pretend, right? I've read only one of Tessa Bailey's book, and it actually wasn't my favorite, but I've heard from a number of people that that book in particular is not a favorite for most people. But some of her other books just get rave reviews, so I've wanted to give her another shot, so I'm excited for this one. I love a Boston story. Then I have an advanced reader copy of How to Break My Heart by Kat T. Mason, also on my Kindle. Eva Woods is perfectly content with her life in the quiet, picturesque town of Cinnamon Springs, where she owns a cafe infamous for its mouth-watering donuts. There's even a cute new doctor in town who has caught the eyes of everyone, Eva included. But when her best friend Maddie asks Eva to join forces with her brother for the sake of her upcoming wedding, Eva's quaint life is upended. Cold and rigid Aston is the man who broke Eva's heart back in high school. He's also one of the country's hottest billionaires, with both Aston and Eva trying to outdo each other and stake claim as Maddie's right-hand man. The competition heats up, but as their annoyance grows, so does the attraction. And when they share a kiss, everything changes. Suddenly, Eva isn't so sure where she stands with Aston. And with Maddie's wedding fast approaching, their time together is dwindling until Aston returns to his life in New York. The next advanced reader copy is The Fairy Morgana by Louisa Morgan. This is on my Kindle and will fill a 52 book club prompt of a fairy tale retelling. This is a King Arthur retelling, which is kind of unique. To the other priestesses of the Nine, a powerful council at the Ladies' Temple, Morgana is haughty and arrogant as she performs feats of magic no human should be capable of. Rumors start that she must be a fearsome fae. To King Arthur, Morgana is a trusted and devoted advisor, but his court is wary of her and her prodigious talent at divination. But his wife sees Morgana as a rival and a malevolent witch. To Brave, Morgana's faithful acolyte, she is simply the most powerful priestess Camelot has seen. Morgana doesn't know why she's so different from everyone else, and she doesn't much care. But when she aids Arthur to ascend the throne before his time, she sets off a series of events that will change everything that Morgana believes about her power. So then I have another Kindle advanced reader copy, Guilty by Definition by Susie Dent. When an anonymous letter is delivered to the Clarendon English Dictionary Office, it becomes rapidly clear that this is not the usual word-related inquiry. Instead, the letter hints at sinister events linked to a particular year. For editor Martha Thornhill, the date can mean only one thing: the summer her brilliant older sister Charlie went missing. 10 years on, Martha and her family are no closer to unraveling the mystery of Charlie's disappearance. Until now. As more letters arrive, Martha and her team follow the linguistic clues to a troubling truth. It seems Charlie was keeping a powerful secret, and that someone is desperate to keep it well and truly buried. Then I have an advanced reader copy of Spellcaster by Jamin Eve on my Kindle. This is another first-person synopsis. Welcome to Weatherstone College. Don't walk the halls late at night, don't disturb the ancient magic, and don't under any circumstances trust a spellcaster. When my magic bloomed at 22, the last thing I expected was to receive an acceptance letter to the most prestigious witch college in the world. It's not that I don't have magic, it's just unpredictable. But with Weatherstone a part of my family legacy, I'm determined to live up to their expectations. A task that's almost derailed on my very first day, when I come face to face with Logan Kingston, the son of my father's enemy. I'm warned to avoid the all-powerful spellcaster at all costs, but apparently Logan did not receive the same memo. The more time I spend around him, the more I crave his unsettling attention. And as hate flirts with obsession, I'm left wondering if there's another side to the decades-old feud between our fathers. On top of that, Weatherstone is not at all like I expected. Built on the ancient blood of necromancers and battle, the magic here is as unpredictable as mine, and I sense a dark energy stalking my footsteps. When a monster attacks me, I have no choice but to turn to the strongest warlock in our school, Logan. After all, to fight a monster, I'll need a monster. Then I received an e-arc of Hoax and Kisses by Elodie Colliard. I will actually have the opportunity to speak with this author in September as a little side bonus book club for the Books with Babes book club. Super excited about that. Matt Becker is stretched thin. Running his flower shop solo is a full-time job, but now he's also tasked with caring for his teenage sister while their parents are away. With her expensive new school draining his savings, Matt's barely keeping his head above water. He needs money, and fast. Groomed to inherit her father's hotel empire, Zoe Delacroix is finally poised to take the reins. But first, she must convince shareholders she's got what it takes, and silence her own doubts. Her plan? Secure a piece of land in the town where her father once failed. Falling for a local? Definitely not part of it. When a crucial town vote spirals into disaster and her reputation takes a hit, Zoe finds an unexpected lifeline. Matt. He suggests a fake relationship to win back the town's favor in exchange for a spot in her small business investment program. It's strictly business until it isn't. Matt never expected the spoiled city girl to fit so easily in his world. And Zoe never questioned the future set for her until she began picturing a life more like his. As lines blur and real feelings get tangled in their fake romance, Matt and Zoe must rewrite the future or risk losing the one thing they never saw coming, a shot at love. Then I have 2 more advanced reader copies on my Kindle. The first one is Dream On by Jennifer Hartman. This one actually comes out on August 12th, but it didn't make it on to my July TBR, which of course I never filmed anyway, but I still wanted to make sure it was officially on a list. So I've already started that one. Another first person. Lexington Hall and I were never supposed to collide. He, the golden boy of Hollywood, and me, a small town dreamer with stars in my eyes. But when we shared the stage in our high school musical, something ignited. Then, just as quickly, it all fell apart, leaving my dreams in pieces. Now, 4 years later, Lex is a household name, turning our past into a television sensation. He's spun our story for the world to see, while I'm still haunted by what we lost. While millions are obsessed with the real Stevie St. James, Lex reappears with an offer too good to turn down, a fake romance to keep the buzz alive, in exchange for the financial freedom I desperately need. I convince myself I can play the part, but as old feelings resurface and new risks emerge, the line between fiction and reality begins to blur. Dreams are easy to chase, but falling for the guy who shattered mine could cost me everything. You can tell by a lot of these I am drawn to the fake dating trope, one of my favorites. Then the last advanced reader copy on my Kindle is Ashes of Honor by Nell Nicole. This actually came out a few months ago. It is the 3rd book in the State of the Union series, and I didn't read it when I received the advanced reader copy because I hadn't read the series yet. But once I read through them and I read this one, I will be all caught up. And with that being said, because it is the 3rd book of the series and I'm not quite all the way through them yet, I am not going to talk about the synopsis because I'm pretty sure there could be some spoilers. They're not standalones. But as a whole, the State of the Union series is a dystopian, post-apocalyptic fantasy series about elemental magic, found family, and survival. Then I have a few physical advanced reader copies that were gifted to me by publishers. The first one is The Many Mothers of Dolores Moore by Annika Fajardo. This comes out on September 16th. In the span of a year, Dolores Moore has become a 35-year-old orphan. After the funeral of the last living family member, Dory has never felt more alone. That is except for a Greek chorus of deceased relatives whose voices follow her around giving unsolicited opinions. And they're only amplifying Dory's doubts, the deathbed promises she made to return to her birthplace in Colombia. Fresh off a breakup, laid off from her job, and having inherited an aging house and 2 cats, how can she possibly leave the country now? But when an old flame offers to help, the chorus agrees there's no room for excuses. Armed with only a scrap of a hand-drawn map, Dory sets off to find out where and who she comes from. Then Hot Desk by Laura Dickerman comes out on September 2nd. In the post-pandemic publishing industry, 2 rival editors are forced to share a hot desk on different days of the week, much to their chagrin. Having never set eyes on each other, Rebecca Bloom and Ben Heath begin leaving passive-aggressive post-it notes on the pot of their shared cactus. But when revered literary legend Edward David Adams, known as the Lion, dies, leaving his estate up for grabs, their banter escalates as both work feverishly to land this career-making opportunity. Their fierce rivalry ultimately forces each to decide how far they'll go to get ahead, what role they want to play in the Lion's legacy, and what they mean to each other. As their battle for the estate gets more heated, Rebecca learns of a connection between her mother, Jane, and the Lion. The story travels back 4 decades earlier to when Jane arrives in Manhattan and meets Rose, soon her best friend. Jane and Rose are two strong, talented young women trying to make their mark in the publishing world at a time when art, the written word, and creative expression were at their height. But one fateful day during the April blizzard of 1982 will change the course of Jane's life and their friendship forever. This book sounds like it's a little bit all over the place. Could be really interesting if it's well done, so I will definitely come back with my feedback after I read it. I also received a late advanced reader copy of Mean Moms by Emma Rosenblum. This came out in July, but I just received it literally last week. Meet Frost, Morgan, and Belle, a wealthy, gorgeous group of New York City moms, the queen bees of downtown Manhattan. Their children attend Atherton Academy, the top private school in the city, and their social lives revolve around elaborate themed parties. On the first day of school, the arrival of a new mom and a mysterious beauty from Miami, Sophia, shakes up their world. When Sophia quickly integrates herself into their clique, inexplicably bad things start to happen to the women. Is someone at school out to get them? Then, also last week, I received another, on the later side, advanced reader copy of The Blonde Who Came In From the Cold by Allie Carter. This comes out on August 5th. 10 years ago, they joined the CIA. 6 years ago, he left the game. 5 years ago, they fell in love. 1 year ago, she ran into the cold with absolutely no intention of ever coming back. And 2 minutes ago, they woke up bloody and bruised and handcuffed together in the dark. They don't know where they are, they don't know how they got there, and they have absolutely no idea who is after them or what this nameless, faceless villain wants. The only thing that is clear is after 10 years of covers and chemistry, secrets and lies, these two rival spies have been sucked into their greatest mission yet. And now they're going to have to team up to stay alive if they don't kill each other first. So that's it for my advanced reader copies. Then I was gifted a finished copy of Beautiful Stranger by Christina Lauren. This is the second book, not including the novella in between the first and second book of the Beautiful series. Escaping a cheating ex, finance whiz Sarah Dillon has moved to New York City and is looking for excitement and passion without a lot of strings attached. So meeting an irresistible, sexy Brit at a dance club should have meant nothing more than a night's fun. But the manner and speed with which he melts her inhibition from what was supposed to be a one-time hookup into her beautiful stranger. The whole city knows that Max Stella loves women. Not that he's ever found one that he particularly wants to keep around. Despite pulling in plenty with his Wall Street bad boy charm, it's not until Sarah and the wild photos she lets him take of her that he starts wondering if there's someone out there for him outside of the bedroom. While she and Max are hooking up in places where anybody could catch them, Sarah realizes that the only thing scarier than getting caught in public is having Max get too close in private. Then I'm also going to try to read Bearhead by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is the second book in the Dogs of War series because I am trying to get to the third book, which is Bee Speaker, which I was gifted a finished copy from the publisher a month or so ago. So I would like to try to get to that by reading through the series and being able to read, review, and thank them properly. So Bearhead is about Jimmy Martin, who has a sore head. He's used to smuggling illegal data in his headspace. But this is the first time it has started talking to him. The data claims to be a distinguished academic author and civil rights activist. It also claims to be a bear named Honey. Jimmy has nothing against bioforms. He's one himself, albeit one engineered out of human stock, and works with them every day in Hell City, building the future, staking mankind's claim to a new world, Mars. The problem is that humanity isn't the only entity with designs on the red planet. Out in the airless desert, there is another presence. A novel intelligence, elusive, unknowable, and potentially lethal. And Honey is here to make contact with it, whether Jimmy likes it or not. Then finally, we get to my own personal challenges. The longest book on my physical TBR is currently The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne at 580 pages. This will also fulfill a 25 in 25 prompt of a TBR vet. I haven't owned the physical book for that long, but it has been on my TBR for a long time. And then also a pop sugar prompt of a book that I've been avoiding reading. for an unknown reason. I just am intimidated by it for some reason. Cyril Avery is not a real Avery, or at least that's what his adoptive parents tell him, and he never will be. But if he isn't a real Avery, then who is he? Born out of wedlock to a teenage girl, cast out from her rural Irish community, and adopted by a well-to-do, if eccentric, Dublin couple via the intervention of a hunchbacked, redemptorist nun, Cyril is adrift in the world, anchored only tenuously by his heartfelt friendship with the infinitely more glamorous and dangerous Julian Woodbeard. At the mercy of fortune and coincidence, he will spend a lifetime coming to know himself and where he came from, and over his many years will struggle to discover an identity, a home, a country, and much more. Next on my Goodreads Best Books Ever challenge is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. This will fulfill a Pop Sugar Challenge prompt of the oldest author on my TBR. I did the best I could with this to have this information. She was born in 1874, so she's definitely up there. I also interpreted it not necessarily as the oldest living, but like the first born, basically. I also can't believe that I have never read this series. I don't think even as a child, at least to my memory, but Anne is an 11-year-old orphan who is sent by mistake to live with a lonely, middle-aged brother and sister on a Prince Edward Island farm, and proceeds to make an indelible impression on everyone around her. Then the next highest rated book on my entire TBR is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. It technically could be one of the books in the Cosmere, but if you remember from previous videos, when I do these types of challenges, if it's the next book in the series, I'll just read the next book that is in that series. This was gifted to me on my birthday by my friend Tanya. This will also fulfill a 52 book club prompt of a book that's set in a shared universe, or kind of a crossover. So I am finishing up Elantris, which is also set in the Cosmere. So this is then the second book that is also shared in that universe. Once a hero arose to save the world. He failed. Ever since, the world has been a wasteland of ash and mist, controlled by an immortal emperor known as the Lord Ruler. But hope survives. A new uprising is forming, one built around the ultimate caper, the cunning of a brilliant criminal mastermind, and the determination of an unlikely heroine, a street urchin who must learn to master the power of a Mistborn. Then I needed a book that started with E for my Books Are Life challenge. We are all the way to the E in R, A-R-E, and I chose Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, which I already had on my shelf. This will also fulfill a 25 in 25 prompt of a prompt from another challenge. They say you can never go home again, and for Persephone Fraser, ever since she made the biggest mistake of her life a decade ago, that has felt too true. Instead of spending glittering summers on the lakeshore of her childhood, she stays home in a stylish apartment in the city, keeping everyone a safe distance from her heart, until she receives the call that sends her racing back to Barry's Bay and into the orbit of Sam Florrick, the man she'd never thought she'd have to live without. For 6 summers, through hazy afternoons on the water and warm summer nights working in his family's restaurant, Percy and Sam have been inseparable. Eventually, that friendship turned into something more before it fell spectacularly apart. When Percy returns to the lake for Sam's mother's funeral, their connection is as undeniable as it always has been. But until Percy can confront the decisions she made, they'll never know whether their love is bigger than the biggest mistakes of their past. Then, for my 12 books in 12 months recommended by 12 friends challenge, I am going to read the recommendation from my friend Hayla at Book Loving Cat Mom's choice of The Tusks of Extinction by Ray Naylor. I will grab this one from Libby or the library. This will also fulfill a 52 book club prompt of a genre chosen by someone else. I asked my husband for a genre and he chose science fiction. Moscow has resurrected the mammoth, but someone must teach them how to be mammoths. or they are doomed to die out again. Dr. Damina Kazmutalina, an expert in elephant behavior, was brutally murdered trying to defend the world's last elephants from the brutal ivory trade. Now, her digitized consciousness has been downloaded into the mind of a mammoth. Then lastly, I needed a few books to fulfill challenge prompts that just were not covered by any of the other gazillion books on my TBR this month. I knew this would start happening as we got closer to the end of the year. The prompts that are left are a little bit more niche or challenging, and the way I'm doing it, where I might have read books with these prompts already, but they weren't assigned to this month. So I gave myself kind of an extra challenge, so that might mean that extra books have to be put on. I might go back in the end of the year and adjust this, but for now we're keep going as I'm doing. So I have 2 more books to talk about. The first one is that I needed a book that had the word with in the title for the buzzword title prompt for August. So I chose The Night That Ends With Fire by KX Song. I will also grab this one from my library or Libby, and this will also fulfill a diverse challenge prompt of a divided city. The 3 kingdoms are at war, but Malin's father refuses to answer the imperial draft. Trapped by his opium addiction, he plans to sell Malin for her dowry. But when Malin discovers that her husband-to-be is another violent, ill-tempered man, she realizes that nothing will change for her unless she takes matters into her own hands. The very next day, she disguises herself as a boy and enlists in her father's place. In the army, Malin's relentless hard work brings her recognition, friendship, and a growing closeness with Sky, a prince turned training partner. But has she simply exchanged one prison for another? As her kingdom barrels towards destruction, Malin begins to have visions of a sea dragon spirit that offers her true power and freedom, but with a deadly price. With the future of the 3 kingdoms hanging in the balance, Malin will need to decide who to trust. Sky, who inspires her loyalty and love, the sea dragon spirit, who has his own murky agenda, or an infuriating enemy prince who makes her question everything she once knew about her kingdom and about her own heart. Is this a Mulan retelling? I'll have to look into that. Then the last book on my August TBR is She's Up to No Good by Sarah Goodman Confino. I love this author, and I needed a book with transportation on the cover, which I'm shocked that none of my other books had even a hint of a car, bicycle, train, airplane, anything on the cover. So this one obviously has a car, and therefore will also fulfill a Pop Sugar prompt of a road trip. This book is available on Kindle Unlimited. 4 years into their marriage, Jenna is blindsided when her husband asks for a divorce. With time on her hands and her life in flux, she agrees to accompany her grandmother Evelyn on a road trip to the seaside Massachusetts town where much of her family history was shaped. When they hit the road, Evelyn spins the tale of the star-crossed teenage romance that captured her heart more than 70 years ago and changed the course of her life. She insists the return to her hometown isn't about that at all, no matter how much she talks about Tony, her unforgettable and forbidden first love. Upon arrival, Jenna meets Tony's attentive great-nephew Joe. The new friendship and fresh ocean air give her the confidence and distance she needs to begin putting the pain of a broken marriage behind her. As the secrets and truths of Evelyn's past unfolds, Jenna discovers a new side of her grandmother and of herself that she never knew existed, and learns that the possibilities of healing can come at the most unexpected times in a woman's life. That's it. If you made it this far in my video, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments a book or 2 or however many you want to share of books that you are reading in August, especially if we have any of the same books. I love chatting about books as I'm reading them. Book clubs, buddy reads, that's why I'm in way too many of them. But if you are just not feeling super chatty today, but you just want to let me know that you are here, go ahead and leave a sandal emoji, and I will see you on my next video. Bye!